How Social Security is taxed is changing thanks to the new tax law. How's it work though? There's some big questions that need to be answered. I've got those answers and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. If you're a fan of the Wise Money Show, you know one of my big gripes is taxation on Social Security. It just frustrates me that it is taxable, and I do want us to be fiscally responsible, and yet at the same time, how we pay into Social Security is through FICA taxes. Your FICA tax is 7.65%. 6.2 of that goes into Social Security up to a certain limit, and that's not a deduction. So it's after-tax money that we're all paying into the Social Security system, and then when you then receive it back decades later, it's frustrating that it's taxable. And I know, I get the argument that, well, you might pay in over your career this amount, but you might receive in Social Security benefits over your lifetime this amount. They've got to tax some of it. I understand that, but we don't know how much you're going to get out of it. And it's just the calculation about how Social Security is taxed is just it's confusing. It hasn't shifted or adjusted with inflation. So just is a big gripe of mine how they tax Social Security and that they tax Social Security, period. That's why I was excited, like many of you, when I heard a lot of the murmuring about, hey, we're not going to, in the new tax law, we're not going to tax Social Security. Well, that's not what they were able to accomplish. Instead, they came up with something different. So how does taxation on Social Security work now with the new tax laws out there? And what are the big questions that maybe you didn't even know existed, but that need answers so that you can plan ahead? Well, the first question is Social Security no longer taxable? No, it is still taxable. Social Security is still taxable with the same calculation as before. And so here's how that calculation works. If you're a single filer, then there's a formula where all of your other income plus half your Social Security. So all of your other income, which means IRA withdrawals, interest, dividends, capital gains, all your other income plus half your Social Security. As soon as that formula exceeds $25,000 single, then some of your Social Security starts becoming taxable on your federal tax return. And then really at the bigger that formula is, or the bigger that number is, up to 85% of your Social Security could be taxable. The tax isn't 85%, but 85 cents of every dollar would be taxable income. That's if you're single. It's the same formula if you're married filing jointly, but that number, that equation, as soon as it exceeds 32,000, not a lot, right? If it's 25 single, you'd think it'd be 50 married. It's not. It's only 32,000. More and more of your Social Security is becoming taxable. That's the formula. So is Social Security still taxable? Yes, it is. But what was passed in the new tax law is a new temporary senior deduction, okay? And that deduction amount is $6,000 per person. So if you're a single filer and you're eligible, $6,000 is the new deduction that you get. If you're married filing jointly and you're both eligible, $12,000 is the deduction that you get. How are you eligible? You got to be age 65. Okay, 65 or older, and your income needs to be below certain thresholds. If so, if you're eligible, then you get this $6,000 deduction, $12,000 if you're married. You may be familiar that there's already an additional deduction that individuals age 65 or older receive. If you're single, you get an extra $2,000 added to your standard deduction. If you're married, it's an extra $1,600 per person. That already exists. So the second questions are really twofold, and that is, does this new senior deduction of $6,000 per person, does it replace the existing one? No, this is in addition. This is in addition to that additional senior deduction that is already in place that adds to your standard deduction. And then the second follow-up question to this same one is, well, does this new senior deduction of $6,000 individual, $12,000 married, do you have to take the standard deduction, or is it available if you itemize? Based on the sources that I've found and information that I've found, you do get this additional senior deduction even if you itemize your taxes. You don't need to take a standard deduction in order to get this new $6,000 or $12,000 deduction. Third question, Does everyone get it? As soon as you turn 65, does everyone get it? No, there's an income threshold, okay? And there's a phase out. Therefore, if your income gets too high, then you start losing some of this deduction. And if your income exceeds a certain level, you don't get the deduction, period. What are those phase out thresholds? For single filers, as soon as your income exceeds $75,000, then you start losing some of this extra $6,000 deduction. For married, $150,000, you start losing some of the deduction. At what point does the deduction completely go away? For single filers, once your income exceeds $150,000, you're no longer eligible for any of this deduction. For married filing jointly, $250,000. If your income's above that, you don't get any of this special new deduction. All right, next, and this is where it gets confusing. Do you have to be on Social Security to be able to get this deduction? Do you have to be on Social Security? Meaning, if you draw Social Security at age 62, do you get this deduction? No. You could actually be on Social Security and not get this deduction at all if you start Social Security at age 62, 63, 64, or if you're a surviving spouse, qualifying widow, and you draw Social Security at 60 or 61. It doesn't mean you're eligible for this new deduction. In order to qualify for the new deduction, you need to be age 65 or older, and your income needs to be below these thresholds. Does that also mean if you're delaying your Social Security, that you're not eligible for this deduction until you start Social Security? Meaning, if you keep working, or for whatever reason decide to delay drawing Social Security until 66 or 67 or even 70, does that mean you don't get this deduction until then? No. Again, you're eligible for this new deduction, this senior deduction, as soon as you turn 65 and as long as your income's below a certain threshold. This deduction, while they're saying it's to help offset taxation on Social Security, it's not directly connected to you drawing Social Security and the timing of you drawing it. It's based on, are you 65 or older, and is your income below these thresholds? And then fifth question, when's the deduction start, and is it permanent? Well, it starts right now. It starts in 2025. It starts this year, but it is temporary. It's only going to last through 2028. So we only have a few years of this special deduction. So then the final question is, how does this impact your planning? It absolutely does, and it should, starting right now. You need to be doing that proactive tax planning work with your certified financial planner. This might influence whether you should be doing Roth conversions or the amount of Roth conversions that you do. Again, doing a Roth conversion is going to add income to your tax return this year. And if it puts you over these thresholds where you're no longer eligible for the full benefit of this new senior deduction, maybe you shouldn't do that much in Roth conversion. So it's going to impact that, whether you should harvest capital gains, maybe harvesting capital losses, or which accounts you should be drawing dollars out of in retirement. So this absolutely should start impacting your proactive planning. Work with your certified financial planner. Tax planning is where a lot of this is housed, but it's part of the 6 areas of your financial life. Work with your CFP and begin planning there. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can always contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go on and take your next wise step in your financial life.